Hi everyone! Hi grade 12 students! How are you doing today? This is again Ma'am Terebuena, your guidance counselor. Okay, so today we are going to start with our discussion of your homeroom guidance for quarter 3. And the title of module 6 is I Am Safe. Okay? So do you have already a copy of this module? So kung wala pa, I am going to put the link in the description box so you may download it first before we begin with our discussion. And of course, a reminder also, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, Your Guidance Counselor. Please click the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell para ma-update kayo sa lahat ng mga homeroom guidance videos na regularly kong ina-upload. Okay, so kumusta po tayo? Okay, so we are going to start. Okay, let's proceed on page 3. You can see there, there's the gabay sa magulang or tagapag-alaga. So like what we did in our previous module, we have to let our parents watch this part of our video or kaya naman let them read this part of our module. It is very important that we have their support. So it is very important that we have their support while answering this module. Okay? So for the gabay sa magulang or tagapag-alaga, isinulat ang module na ito upang gabayan ng mag-aaral na linangin ng kanyang aspetong personal at sosyal, akademiko at karera. Dinisenyo ito para sa distance learning o alternatibong pamamaraan ng pagkatuto na hindi nangangailangan ng pisikal na presensya sa paaralan, bilang tugon sa direktiba ng pagkansela ng face-to-face class dulot ng pandemyang COVID-19. Maaari may mga pagkakataon na hingin na mag-aaralang iyong patnubay sa pagsunod sa mga tagubilin at pagsagot sa mga tanong sa bawat bahagi ng mga gawain. Hinihiling ng kagawaran ng inyong suporta upang matagumpay niyang maisakatuparan ang mga gawaing ito. Layon ng araling ito na gabayan ng mag-aaral at magkaroon ng kaalaman ukol sa kanyang mga karapatang pantao at kung paano siyang aktibong makakalahok sa pagtaguyod ng mga batas na ito at pagpapanatili ng isang ligtas na lipunan para sa lahat. Tiyaking sasagutin niya ang bawat bahagi ng module ng tapat. Mahalaga ito upang masukat ang kanyang mga angking kakayahan sa pagkilala, pagsuri at pagtaguyod ng mga karapatang pantao. Gabayan siya at siguraduhin na maipapasa niya ang kanyang sagutang papel sa petsa at oras na itinakda ng kanyang gurong tagapayo. Okay, yan po ang ating mensahe para sa inyong mga magulang or tagapag-alaga. Okay, so let's proceed for the introductory message for the learner. You deserve to live in a world that is safe and productive of your human rights. Being aware of your own basic human rights is tantamount to securing that your basic needs are met, that you have the freedom to express yourself, access to quality education, and even the protection from potential abuses and maltreatments. This module aims to introduce you to different laws that protect yourself and others from those who might trample your rights. Also, this learning episode is intended to help you have a clear mind to maintain safe environment, particularly with the new pandemic situation, and realize that you also have the accountability to respect the rights of others and secure a safe environment for everyone. Perform the task ahead of you seriously and ponder on how you can apply the insights that you will gain in helping build a safer world for everyone. Now, this self-learning module has 6 interactive tasks, which are as follows. We have Let's Try This, which will help you to get ready to learn. Let's Explore This, which will guide you towards what you need to learn. Keep in mind, gives you the lessons that you need to learn and understand. You can do it. It helps you to apply the lessons learned in daily activities. What I have learned, test and evaluates your learning, and share your thoughts and feelings. Help you express your thoughts, opinions, and feelings about the lesson. So make sure to really think, follow, and enjoy every task that you are asked to do. Have fun, stay safe, and healthy. Okay, so for our module 6, again, the title is I Am Safe. Okay, ligtas ako. Okay, so for our learning objectives, after going through this module, so you are expected to, number 1, discuss laws that protect the rights of self and others. Number 2, express commitment in promoting rights of self and others. And number 3, promote specific laws protecting oneself and others through awareness campaigns. Total time allotment is 120 minutes and you will be needing the following materials. Kailangan natin ng worksheets on violation effects and pledge of commitment. And of course, kailangan natin ng inyong issue portfolio or notebook or clean sheet of paper. Now, let's proceed. Magsimula na tayo. Handa na po ba tayo, my dear grade 12 students? Okay, para sa ating introduction, sabi dito, the new normal situation has brought many challenges. Diba? Totoo naman talagang challenge sa atin itong pandemya dahil napakarami ng binago nito sa ating buhay. So, for many people, the situation has resulted to what may be termed as pandemic fatigue, additional worries, problems, and even anxiety. So, siguro makaka-relate kayo dito sa tinatawag nating pandemic fatigue. Ayan, so dahil napakarami ng mga karagdagang alalahanin natin sa ating buhay, maaring napakarami ng mga encounter ninyo mga problema and it causes you to have this anxiety, right? So this can stem from your experiences with other people, including your family members and ourselves. Now, with the enforcement of community quarantines, you spend more time locked up with family members and other people staying where you live. Hence, it is essential to be aware of human rights laws so you can also safeguard yourselves and others from different forms of abuses and exploitation. So, napakalinaw na sinasabi natin dito that we want you to protect yourself. So, it is a must for you to know also your basic human rights, especially that you are staying at home with your loved ones, with relatives. So probably one of my listeners or isa sa mga nanonood ng video na ito ay nakaranas ng mga pang-aabuso during lockdown or during this pandemic. So para at least alam natin kung ano ang gagawin natin at ano ba yung mga karapatan din natin na kailangan nating i-assert, okay, bilang isang mamamayan. Now in this module, you will be introduced to various laws that protect your human rights. So you will also learn more about your duties and responsibilities and in promoting the safety of other people. Okay, dalawa ang matututunan natin sa module na ito. So una ay yung mga iba't ibang batas na kung saan itong mga batas na to ang pumoprotekta sa atin, sa ating mga karapatang pantao. And at the same time, aside from knowing these laws, it is also a must for you to learn what are your duties and responsibilities. Okay? So, kakambal ng mga batas na ito, kakambal ng mga laws na ito, ang mga duties and responsibilities mo as a citizen of this country. So, para alam mo din kung paano din maprotektahan ang iba para sa kanilang kaligtasan. Okay? So, malinaw po ang ating magiging talakayan ngayong umaga. Ayan, ngayong araw. So, ang pag-uusapan natin ay tungkol sa mga karapatan mo bilang isang mamamayan or itong mga basic human rights. Now, let's proceed. Under Let's Try This, so we have here Activity 1 and the title is Violations Everywhere. Again, the title of Activity number 1 under Let's Try This is Violations Everywhere and suggested time allotment is 25 minutes. So, may makikita tayo ditong mga drawing. Okay, it is categorized into 4. We have home, school, community, and workplace. Now, what are we going to do? So, in the instruction, you can see there that you're just going to list down at least one possible scenario wherein there is a violation of human rights which may happen on the following places. So, ulitin natin, ililista lang po ninyo ang isa sa mga posibleng scenario or sitwasyon or maaaring na-observe ninyo wherein sa tingin ninyo ay na-violate, okay, ang karapatang pantao, okay, na ito ay nangyayari sa mga lugar na ito, so maaaring sa bahay, sa home, maaaring sa eskwelahan, maaaring sa iyong komunidad, at maaaring sa lugar ng trabaho or sa workplace, okay, sa mga offices, sa mga companies. Okay, so ano kaya sa tingin mo yung mga scenario or sitwasyon na kung saan na-violate mayroong violation ng human rights? Okay, so like for example, at home, example, sabi dito, physical abuse to children. Okay, ano pa kaya sa tingin mo yung mga human rights violation na maaaring mangyari sa bahay. Okay? So, napakarami. Isipin mo na lang kung anong klaseng pang-aabuso ang maaaring mangyari sa bahay. Okay? So, aside from physical abuse to children. So, we also have here school. Okay? Sa paaralan naman kaya, ano naman ang pwedeng ma-violate na human rights pagdating sa paaralan? So, meron tayo dito ng halimbawa. So, ang isa sa mga human rights violation ay ang verbal bullying by a fellow student. Verbal, okay? So, marami tayong ibang mga uri ng bullying. So, maaari mong ilagay dyan kung ano pa yung iba mong nalalaman patungkol sa mga karapatang pantao na maaaring na-violate, okay, sa inyong eskwelahan. And of course, sa community naman, meron tayong halimbawa dyan, refusal to convey a crippled commuter in public transport. Okay, so ibig sabihin, hindi pinapasakay, okay, ang may mga kapansanan, okay, crippled commuter. So, ito yung mga maaring pilay o walang paa, ano, na hindi sila pinapayagang sumakay sa public transport, na talaga namang ipinagbabawal ito dahil pantay-pantay dapat ang karapatan ng bawat isa regardless kung ikaw ay may kapansanan ka man o wala. Okay, so lalong-lalo na para sa ating mga PWD or person with disability, kung mapapansin ninyo sa mga buses or sa ibang mga lugar, sila ang pinaprioritize. So, well, actually, meron silang special seat and special lane, okay, para sa ating mga PWD, okay? So, isa na itong mga crippled commuter sa maaaring ma-violate din ang kanilang karapatan. So, ano pa kaya sa tingin mo ang ibang mga violations, human rights violation that can happen in your community? And of course, we have here workplace. And an example is sexual harassment of the boss to his employees. Okay, so ano kaya, so do you know about sexual harassment? So it can happen between a boss, a superior, and his or her employees. Okay, yung mga nasasakupan niya. Okay, so isa yun sa mga maaaring human violations in workplace. So ano pa kaya sa tingin mo ang ibang mga violations, human rights violations that can happen in workplace? Now, if you don't have any idea about the answers here, so you can research, okay? You can search the net, or kung meron man, mas maigi na ilagay na lang dyan. Or you can also ask your parents or somebody else na maaaring may idea about this, okay? So, and then after which, you are going to answer the prosing questions. We have number 1, what did you realize while doing this activity? So, ano ba yung mga realizations mo? Ano ba yung mga napagtanto mo habang sinasagutan mo itong activity ito? So, actually, ang dami natin pwedeng maging realizations. Okay? So, ano ba yun? Okay? So, I'm not going to give you the answer. So, please think of your own answers too. Okay? And number 2, as a senior high school learner, what can you do to prevent this human rights violations? So definitely, hindi natin ito gagawin na activity na to kung alam namin na wala kang magagawa. Definitely, we would like to emphasize here that as a senior high school student, you can do something, okay? Para maiwasan itong mga paglabag sa karapatang pantao ng bawat isa, ano? Sa iba't ibang lugar. So, bilang isang estudyante sa senior high school, paano mo kaya mapiprevent, okay? May iwasan itong mga iba't ibang human rights violations na ito. Okay? Ano ba yung mga pwede mong gawin? Ano ba yung mga maaari mong gawin, ano? Para maiwasan itong mga paglabag, okay, sa human rights or itong human rights violations. Okay? So, malinaw po ba ang instruction natin under Let's Try This? So, if you're done, let's proceed under Let's Explore This. Okay? Suggested time allotment is 35 minutes. So, meron tayo ditong title natin, and this is the activity 2, Impacts of Violations. Okay? Again, the title of activity under Let's Explore This is Impacts of Violations. Ano kaya sa tingin nyo ang epekto nitong mga paglabag na ito? From the previous activity, fill out the table below. So may makikita tayo ditong table, okay? Like what you see in our previous activity, di ba, categorize siya into 4. So may 4 dyan na places: school, community, workplace, and home. Now, ang gagawin lamang po natin ay fill upan natin ito sa second column, itong violation. You're going to rewrite the human rights violations in each scenario: the home, school, community, and workplace. Okay? So, yung mga inilagay mo, so yung mga naisip mong violations, ilagay mo po dyan, i-rewrite lang natin, isusulat lang muli natin ang inyong mga sagot doon dito sa activity na ito. Kung anong nakalagay dyan sa mga line na yan, anong nilagay mo, so you're going to put it in column number 2. And then, sa third column, itong effects, you're going to describe the effects of these human rights violations to the victims and to the other members of each scenario. Okay, so ilalarawan mo lang kung ano kaya sa tingin mo yung epekto ng mga paglabag na ito sa ating karapatang pantao. Anong epekto nito sa mga biktima at anong epekto nito sa iba pang mga maaaring miyembro or other members ng scenario or mga involved sa scenario yon. Okay? Ano kaya sa tingin mo ang epekto nito sa kanila? Okay, for example, sa bahay, anong epekto nito sa mga bata? Anong epekto nito sa mga magulang? Anong epekto nito sa mga kamag-anak? Etc. etc. Okay? So, ilalagay mo dyan kung ano yung epekto sa mga taong involved sa scenario na nabanggit. Okay? And in the last column, itong possible agencies that could help, ilalagay lang po natin dyan, i-identify natin ang mga iba't ibang government and non-government agencies that can help the victims and or address the human rights violations. So, sino kaya ang mga ahensya ng ating gobyerno o kaya naman ay ang mga NGOs, okay? Ito nga mga non-government agencies na maaaring makatulong sa mga biktima para ma-address, malutas, mabigyan ng karampatang parusa kung sino man yung nag-violate o magkaroon ng katarungan ang mga biktima nitong paglabag sa karapatang pantao. Okay? So, sino kaya yung mga ahensyang maaaring lapitan ninyo? Okay, so napakarami ng pwede nating ilagay dyan ng mga agencies. Okay? And so kung wala tayong idea, again, you may search the net, you may ask somebody. Okay, maaari nyong hingin ang patnubay ng inyong mga magulang sa pagsagot ng mga gawain dito sa module. So malinaw yan na sinabi natin doon sa paunang doon sa mensahe para sa inyong mga magulang. And after which, you're going to answer the prosing question. Number 1, what insights have you gained from the activity? Ano ba yung mga napagtanto ninyo? Ano ba yung mga realizations ninyo? Ano ba yung insight na maaari mong nakuha sa activity natin? Dito sa activity natin na may pamagat na impacts of violations. Okay? And number 2, how do victims of human rights violations benefit from the actions of any of the agencies responsible to protect him or protect or help them? So, paano kaya sa tingin mo itong mga biktima ng paglabag sa karapatang pantao ay magkakaroon din ng benefit or maaaring matulungan sa mga gagawing aksyon ng mga ahensya na maaaring responsable sa pagprotekta at pagtulong sa kanila? So, paano kaya mabibenepisyohan? Paano makakatulong or paano makakapagbigay ng benefit or benepisyo ang mga gagawing actions nitong mga different agencies na na-identify mo, di ba? Doon sa last column, nilagay natin yung mga iba't ibang ahensya na mga maaaring makatulong sa mga biktima nitong paglabag sa karapatang pantao. Ano kaya sa tingin mo ang sino kaya or ano yung mga benefits, ano yung mga maaaring makuhang benepisyo ng mga biktima ng human rights, okay, sa mga ahensyang responsable sa pagtulong sa kanila. Okay? So ayan, so sana po ay nasagot natin na maayos ito. Syempre alam ko na we also acknowledge the fact that possible na wala tayong idea sa mga sagot dito, sa mga agencies, sa mga violations, etc. So again, ask the help of your parents. Okay? Now, let's proceed. So, dito na tayo sa discussion part ng ating module. We are going to discuss this. Under keep in mind, suggested time allotment is 15 minutes. Now, the title of our discussion under keep in mind is specific laws that protect human rights. Okay. Pag-aaralan natin kung ano ba yung mga batas na pumuprotekta sa ating karapatang pantao. Okay? Now, can you imagine a world without human rights? It will certainly expose you and others to dangerous situations like abuses and exploitation. So, buti na lang, meron tayong mga batas na nagsusulong sa karapatan natin, So, dahil syempre, napaka-dangerous nito, delikado ito, talaga mapanganib dahil maaaring magkaroon ng napakaraming mga uri ng pang-aabuso at exploitation, So, buti na lang, sabi dito, we are living now in a world that promotes and respects human rights, okay, which are considered universal and fundamental to every human person in the world. So, meron tayo ditong mga batas na pag-aaralan. So, this is just a summary of laws that you must know as a senior high school student. Now, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or the UDHR, which was a milestone document in the history of human rights, outlined the most basic human rights and freedoms that every human being is entitled to. So siguro naman ay na-encounter nyo na itong Universal Declaration of Human Rights dahil ito ang pinaka-basic nating mga karapatan, So dito nanggagaling ang lahat ng ating mga batas patungkol sa karapatang pantao. Now, this declaration proclaimed by all the representatives coming from different regions of the world laid out the foundation of human rights protection laws and policies all around the world. Okay, so sabi ko nga, ito ang pinakabasehan, ito ang pinaka-foundation, ito ang pinanggagalingan ng lahat ng batas natin patungkol sa ating mga karapatan, So, ibig sabihin ito ay universal dahil kung ano ang mga karapatan natin, ito yung mga karapatang pantao natin dito sa Pilipinas, ito din ay ang mga posibleng karapatang pantao ng mga naninirahan din sa ibang bansa. Okay? So, in our country, different laws have been enacted to protect the human rights of every Filipino. So, the following are some of these legislations. Okay, so meron tayong mga iba't ibang batas na para din sa ating mga Pilipino, na pumoprotekta sa ating karapatang pantao. Okay, so ngayon ay meron tayo ditong several, so babasahin ko lamang ito para at least magkaroon tayo ng idea kung ano-ano ba yung mga batas na maaari nating tingnan kapag naaabuso tayo or kapag nalalabag ang ating karapatang pantao. Now, we have here Republic Act number 9262. Now, this act is also known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. Now, sabi dito, violence against women and their children refers to any act or a series of acts committed by any person against a woman who is his wife, former wife, or against a woman with whom the person has or had a sexual or dating relationship with whom he has a common child, or against her child, whether legitimate or illegitimate, within or without the family abode, which result in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering, or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, coercion, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. So, yan po ang patungkol sa Republic Act 9262 na isa sa mga primary laws ng ating bansa na pumoprotekta sa karapatan ng mga kababaihan, okay, at ng kanyang mga anak, okay, ng kanyang anak. Okay, the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. and 4. And we also have here Republic Act number 10175. Ano ba itong RA number 10175? So this is also known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. Okay? Now the law outlined the punishable acts that are so Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, okay? So the law outlined the punishable acts that are considered cyber crimes like offenses against the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer data and systems, computer-related offenses, and content-related offenses. Okay, so kung papansin niyo itong batas na to ay isa sa mga pinaka bago ding batas na kung saan ay talagang pinoprotektahan din tayo nito pagdating sa mga pang-aabuso sa internet, okay, sa social media, okay, or sa anything na related sa cyber, okay, mga cyber crime laws, okay. So this Republic Act number 10175. Now we also have here Republic Act number 9710. Ano naman itong RE 9710? So this is the Magna Carta of Women. So ito ang pinakabatas naman na sinusunod natin para sa karapatan ng mga kababaihan. Now this was approved on August 14, 2009, which mandates non-discrimination and pro-gender equality and equity measures to enable women's participation in the formulation, implementation, and evaluation of policies and plan for national, regional, and local development. Okay? So that is the Magna Carta of Women. And we also have the RA or Republic Act number 9442. Okay? So ito naman yung batas na kung saan umaamenda naman dito sa dito nga sa Republic Act number 7277. So this is otherwise known as the Magna Carta for disabled persons and for other purposes. Okay, ito naman ay para sa mga kababayan natin na may mga kapansanan. Okay? So nagkaroon ng amendment o pagbabago sa batas na ito, binago ng Republic Act number 9442 ang Republic Act number 7277. So kasama sa amendment ay ang inclusion of new chapters and sections for other privileges and incentives and prohibitions on verbal, non-verbal ridicule and vilification against persons with disability. So sinasabi dito na isinama sa batas ang iba't ibang mga provisions, iba't ibang mga privileges at may mga incentives para sa mga taong may kapansanan or disability. Okay, mas pinaganda pa ang mga incentives na para sa kanila. Okay? And we also have the Republic Act number 7610 or the RA 7610. So this act is also known as the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. Now, this law provides special protection to children from all forms of abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, and discrimination and other conditions prejudicial their development, provides sanctions for their commission, and carry out a program for prevention and deterrence of and crisis intervention in situations of child abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. So ito naman ang batas na pumoprotekta po sa ating mga sa mga bata, sa inyo pong mga kabataan, So this is the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act. Okay, so the anti-child abuse law po ito. Okay, and we also have here the Republic Act number 8353, or this is also known as the Anti-Rape Law of 1997. Okay, so rape is committed by a man who shall have carnal knowledge of a woman under any of the following circumstances: A, through force, threat, and intimidation; B, when the offended party is deprived of reason or otherwise unconscious; C, by means of fraudulent machination or grave abuse of authority; and D, when the offended party is under 12 years of age or is demented, even though none of the circumstances mentioned above is above be present. Now, rape is also committed by any person who, under any of the circumstances mentioned there hereof, shall commit an act of sexual assault by inserting his penis into another person's mouth or anal orifice, or any instrument or object into the genital or anal orifice of another person. So, yun po ang ibig sabihin ng rape, okay? So, yan po ang Republic Act number A353, at malinaw na ito ay paglabag sa ating karapatang pantao. Okay, at ang Republic Act number 9231 naman ay ang act that provides the elimination of the worst forms of child labor and affording stronger protection for the working child, amending for this purpose Republic Act number 7610 as amended, otherwise known as the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation and Discrimination Act. Okay, so ang 9231 naman ay tungkol sa child labor. Ano yung pagtatrabaho ng mga bata na hindi pa naman allowed na magtrabaho dahil sila ay menor de edad. Okay, yung mga pang-aabuso, yung mga pagmamaltrato sa mga batang nagtatrabaho, or yung grabing pagpapahirap sa mga bata, so ito po ay pinagbabawal ng ating batas. Pero kung kaya inutusan ng inyong mga magulang na magtrabaho, so normal po yun, hindi po yun child labor. Okay, malinaw po yan, So pero may mga kabataan kasi na minsan ay talagang napipilitan, or naaabuso din dahil sila ay pinagtatrabaho ng mga trabahong hindi naman para pa sa mga edad nila. Okay? So that is the law that can protect them is the Republic Act number 9231 or the child labor law. Okay? And we also have the Republic Act number 10627. So this is also known as the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. So sinasabi dito na lahat ng elementary and secondary schools are hereby directed to adopt policies to address the existence of bullying in their respective institutions for the purpose of act. Bullying shall refer to any severe or repeated use by one or more students of a written, verbal, or electronic expression or a physical act or gesture, or any combination thereof directed at another student that has the effect of actually causing or placing the latter in reasonable fear of physical or emotional harm or damage to his property, creating a hostile environment at school for the other student, infringing on the rights of the other student at school, or materially and substantially disrupting the education process of the orderly operation of a school. So ito ay napaka naman sa atin, common na itong Anti-Bullying Act, and we also know already the definition of bullying. So bullying can be written in a written form, it can be verbal, it can be through text, through chat, through electronic expression. Probably binuli kayo dahil isa sa mga kaklase ninyo ang nagpo-post ng mga hindi totoong or mga mean post about you, or kaya naman ikaw ay sinaktan, or physical, or maaring combination nito. So napakarami ng uri ng bullying, but bullying can happen only between students, hindi natin matatawag na bullying ang pang-aabuso between teacher and a student. Okay, so that is child abuse already. Okay, pag between students, so yan ang bullying. Okay, so malinaw po yan, at basahin maigi kung ano yung kabilang sa bullying. So ito po ay ang Republic Act number 10627. Now we also have here Republic Act number 9775. So this act is also known as the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009. Okay? With the help of this law, the fundamental rights of every child from all forms of neglect, cruelty, and other conditions prejudicial to his or her development is guaranteed. Now, children are protected from all forms of exploitation and abuse, including but not limited to number 1, use of child in pornographic performances and materials, and number 2, the inducement of coercion of a child to engage or be involved in pornography through whatever means. Okay, so may mga kabataan kasi talaga na naaabuso at ay binebenta ng kanilang mga magulang para sa malaking halaga, no? For example, maghuhubad sa harap ng isang dayuhan, ano, through internet, sa webcam. Okay, pinapadala ang mga hubad na litrato sa isang customer at kapalit nito ay pera. So definitely this is part of the Pornography Anti-Child Pornography Act. Okay, so pinoprotektahan nito ang mga batang katulad ninyo na hindi rin magamit sa mga maling gawain na katulad nito. Okay? And we also have Republic Act number 9995, or this act is also known as the Anti-Photo and Video Voyeurism Act of 2009. Now, this act states that it is unlawful to take photo or video coverage of a person or group of persons performing sexual act or any similar activity, or to capture an image of the private area of a person, to copy or reproduce or to sell or distribute, to publish or broadcast internet, cellular phones, and other similar means. Okay, yung mga larawang hindi naman dapat makita ng iba, katulad na lang ng mga sexual act, ano, yung mga larawan na nahubad, ano, so hindi po yan maaaring hindi po yan pinapayagan ng ating batas na, no. So talagang bawal ito na kopyahin, ano, bawal itong i-reproduce, bawal itong ibenta, dahil ito ay unlawful daw, ano. So ipinapahayag dito na unlawful ang pagkuha ng litrato, okay, or video sa mga ganitong klaseng mga gawain, or for example mga sexual act, okay. And that's Republic Act number 9995, and we also have Republic Act number 10354. Okay, so this is the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. Now, this law recognizes and guarantees the human rights of all persons, including their right to equality and non-discrimination of these rights, the right to sustainable human development, the right to health, which includes reproductive health, the right to education and information, and the right to choose and make decisions for themselves in accordance with their religious convictions, ethics, cultural beliefs, and the demands of responsible parenthood. Okay? So, definitely, kung ikaw ay magiging isang magulang na, you have to be responsible also. And kasama na dito ang pangangalaga din sa iyong reproductive health. Okay? And we also have Republic Act number 8049, or ito yung Act regulating hazing and other forms of initiation rights in fraternities, sororities, and other organizations, and providing penalties therefore. Ayan, so hindi natin pinapayagan, ano? Hindi pinapayagan ng ating batas ang ganitong klaseng pang-aabuso, katulad na lang ng hazing, ano? Katulad na lang ng mga initiation ng mga fraternities and sororities. Kaya naman sinasabi dito na bawal ang hazing, bawal ang initiation, or kahit na anong form ng pang-aabuso within fraternities and sororities, or manner by a fraternity, sorority, or organization shall be allowed without prior written notice to the school authorities or head of organization 7 days before the conduct of initiation. Now, the written notice shall indicate the period of the initiation activities, which shall not exceed 3 days, shall include the names of those to be subjected to such activities, and shall further contain an undertaking that no physical violence be employed by anybody during such initiation rites. Well, actually, pwede naman talaga ang mga fraternities and sororities or mga organizations, ano, especially sa mga colleges, but they have to seek permit, and they have to make sure that no abuses will happen, ano? And sabi dito, for more detailed readings, you may visit the official Gazette website, which is the official publication of the government of the Philippines that publishes Republic Acts as well as the implementing rules and regulations of these laws, ano? So ang binahagi ko po sa inyo ay summary lamang, ano, buod lamang ng ating mga batas or itong mga Republic Acts na ito. Pero kung gusto po ninyo na makuha ang buong detalye patungkol sa mga batas na ito, maaari po kayong bumisita sa official publication ng ang ating government, ano? So we have the official Gazette, okay? Now, on being safe in working environment, okay? So sabi din dito, meron din tayong mga batas na pumoprotekta sa mga nagtatrabaho, ano? So sabi dito, as a senior high school student, you will experience applying all the competencies you acquired through a work immersion program. Ayan, so bilang grade 12 student, may experience nito, mararanasan nyo ito dahil magkakaroon kayo ng tinatawag na work immersion program. Maaaring magkaroon kayo ng business enterprise simulation or kaya naman ay mag-conduct kayo ng actual research or capstone project. So, mahalaga daw ito. So, it is important that you are also aware about your rights in the work immersion venue. Dahil maaaring maaabuso din ang inyong mga karapatan, 'di ba? Maabuso kayo during your work immersion. So, kaya naman isinama natin ito dahil kayo ay mag-immersion na, kayo ay pupunta sa iba't ibang mga lugar or workplace na related sa inyong senior high school strand. So, sabi dito, maigi daw na alam nyo din ang inyong mga karapatan. Okay, so prior to your immersion, an orientation will be held by your teachers to explain the scope of this program and your roles as a work immersion student. Okay? So, the Department of Labor and Employment o itong DOLE ay meron po itong Labor Advisory number 9, series of 2017, na kung saan sinasabi dito na meron daw pong clear guidance to host establishment in ensuring safe workplaces for you under this work immersion program. So, meron din silang guidelines kung paano ang gagawin ninyo, paano kayo itatrato sa mga workplaces during your immersion program. Now, meron tayo ditong emphasis na kung saan restricted ang mga learners na between 15 and 18 years old to report in their work immersion venue between 10 o'clock in the evening and 6 o'clock in the morning in the following day. So, malinaw ito, no? So, kung sakaling kayo ay pag-reportin sa inyong mga immersion na offices or venue na between 10 o'clock ng gabi, alas 10 ng gabi at hanggang alas 6 ng umaga, bawal po ito. Okay? So, other provisions in these guidelines were reiterated as follows. Provision of personal protective equipment, or the Rule 1080 of 1989, Occupational Safety and Health, and ensuring non-exposure of senior high school students to hazardous materials and work environment. So, this is under Rule 1013 of the 1989 OSH, or Hazardous Workplaces and DOLE Memorandum Circular Number 2, Series of 1998, or the Technical Guidelines for Classifying Hazardous and Non-Hazardous Environments, Workplaces, and Work Processes. Okay? So, mahalaga na alam nyo din ang inyong mga karapatan kasi maaari talaga kayong maabuso ng mga employers or ng mga inyong pagdadausan ng immersion. Now, keep in mind, these different provisions about your safety and protection as a work immersion program, and do not hesitate to report to your work immersion teacher if you think some of your human rights are violated. So, huwag matatakot mag-report sa inyong mga immersion teacher dahil matutulungan kayo nila. Okay? Now, under you can do it, so we have here, we have our activity number 3, which is entitled Advocacy Poster. So, this is good for 30 minutes. Now, from the various laws that you learned from the lecturette, so choose one that you would like to be advocated in your home, school, or community. So, you're going to draw an advocacy poster, traditional drawing or digital format. So, nasa sa inyo yan kung gusto nyo digital format ang inyong poster, or kaya naman ay yung traditional na poster lang. ito ay isang advocacy, ano? So, base sa mga napag-aralan nating mga laws, yung mga nabanggit natin under keep in mind, pipili lang kayo doon ng isa, ano na gusto mong i-advocate or gusto mong isulong, gusto mong i-promote, ano? So, dito sa gagawin mong poster, ipopromote mo yung implementation ng batas in a 1/8 size of illustration board. Okay? So, kung walang illustration board, dahil maaaring bumili ka pa, so maaaring sa bond paper, okay, pwede na yon, ano, as long as meron kang maiguhit, may magawang poster. Pero kung mas maigi na, kung may magawa kang output or isa na nasa illustration board, pwede din naman, mas maigi. Now, it is recommended that you contextualize your poster design and elements to the current pandemic situation. Now, contextualize dapat ito, ano, within the context of during this pandemic, ano, paano mo ba i-advocate itong batas na ito during this pandemic? Okay, isusulat mo, i-drawing mo ito, ano, you may post in the most conspicuous areas in your place or virtually post in your chosen social media account to promote your advocacy. So maaari mo itong i-post, ilagay ang mga drawing mo, itong poster mong ito sa lugar na kung saan maraming makakakita, or kaya naman ay kumuha ka ng larawan, no, ng iyong drawing, picturean mo at i-upload mo sa iyong social media account at ilagay mo kung ano patungkol sa ano ang iyong advocacy. Okay, ano bang ibig sabihin ng poster mo at ano ba ang advocacy mo, ano ba yung isinusulong mo, okay, patungkol sa karapatang ito. Okay, so yan po, maganda din ito dahil lalabas ang ating creativity para sa mga artist dyan. Para naman sa hindi masyado magaling sa poster making, it's alright as long as mailagay mo dyan din yung thought mo, na naiisip mo, at magawa mo din na makakreate ng isang art. Okay, okay lang yan, kahit hindi masyado maganda as long as ikaw mismo ang gumawa. Okay? So, for the proposing questions, we have here number 1. What did you realize while doing this activity? Ang dami natin pwedeng maging realizations dito. Number 2, in your own way, what can you do to support the implementation of laws for the protection of human rights? So, sa iyong sariling pamamaraan, paano mo ba susuportahan ang implementasyon ng mga batas na pumoprotekta sa mga karapatang pantao? Okay? Ano ba ang mga pamamaraan din? Paano mo ba susuportahan ang mga ang implementasyon ng mga batas na ito? Okay? And, ayan, under what I have learned, suggested time allotment is 5 minutes. Now here, show how much you have learned from this module by completing the following statement. So titingnan natin kung kumusta ba yung mga natutunan ninyo? Ano ba yung mga natutunan ninyo sa module na ito sa pamamagitan ng pagkumpleto ng mga statements na makikita ninyo dyan. Okay, in this module, I learned that. So ano ba yung mga natutunan mo? I appreciate the fact that, so ano ba yung mga na-appreciate mo? Okay, and because of what I have learned, I will surely what? Ano bang gagawin mo? Ia-apply mo ba? So sana naman ia-apply, share, okay? Wag lang i-ignore, okay? So ang dami nang pwede nating ilagay dyan. So also a reminder for you to be able to express also your thoughts, your feelings, your answer talaga. Kung sa tingin mo gusto mong gumamit ng iyong sariling wika or yung sariling dialect, so you may. Okay? So that's a reminder na sa atin sa pagsagot ng homeroom guidance module. No pressure, hindi kailangang English ang ating sagot. Okay? So yun ang kagandahan ng HG. You are free to choose your own the most comfortable dialect. Okay? And share your thoughts and feelings. Here we have a pledge, okay? This so-called human right pledge of commitment. Now, suggested time allotment is 10 minutes. So, dito gagawa kayo ng sarili ninyong pledge, your own personal pledge of commitment, showing your support in promoting these human rights laws for a better and safer society. Now, kukopyahan lamang po natin na nakikita natin yung template sa ating dito sa baba. Human Rights Pledge of Commitment, I do solemnly commit myself to. So ilalagay natin dyan yung commitment ninyo sa pagpapakita ng suporta sa pagsulong ng mga karapatang pantao, ano, para sa ikauunlad at para na din sa ating pagkakaroon ng isang safe, okay? Isang ligtas na komunidad, okay? At ligtas na society. Okay. So gagawa tayo. Ano ba yung mga gagawin? Ano ba yung mga ipinapangako mo para din na makapagbigay tayo ng suporta sa pagsulong sa ating mga karapatan para na rin sa ikakaunlad ng ating bansa. Okay? So, yan po ang ating module 6, my dear grade 12 students. So, yan, napakaganda nito dahil very practical ang naging usapan natin dito. Talaga may i-apply natin sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay para masigurado natin na hindi tayo maaabuso sa lahat ng lugar na pupuntahan natin. Maging ito man ay sa bahay, sa eskwelahan, sa ating komunidad at sa ating mga soon-to-be workplace. Okay? So I hope na hindi man natin ma-memorize ang lahat ng batas na ito, at least nagkaroon tayo ng idea na may mga karapatan na dapat din na alam natin, ano, para alam din natin kung kailan ano ang mga gagawin natin kung sakaling maabuso tayo sa mga katulad ng sitwasyon na nabanggit natin kanina, yung mga examples natin. Okay, so kung may mga tanong pa tayo, if you have questions, you can post your questions in our comment box, okay, or you can send a message in our Facebook page, Your Guidance Counselor. Okay, so I hope you learned something from our discussion today, my dear grade 12 students. So yan po, we shall now end our discussion. So thank you so much for listening and have a great day and safe day, everyone.